Hey guys, Mr. Letourneau here. I wanted to explain to you guys the argument essay introduction in case you were absent during class instruction or you had some technical difficulties or for whatever reason. So let's take a look at it. Remember, our topic here for our argument essay is lab grown meat. So, is it a good idea or not? So, you are trying to convince your reader that either yes, it's a great idea, it's this kind of amazing technological achievement, it'll help mankind, right? Or no, it's this mistake, it's a bad idea, it'll have negative consequences, right? So first off in our introduction, before we get to our position, we're going to start off with a sentence at the beginning. Now, this could be longer than a sentence if you want, but minimum at least a sentence. Um, this is going to be our hook or attention grabber, okay? So you should remember that from the last essay we wrote, the Call of Wild essay, the response to lit. So with a hook or attention grabber, you're just trying to get your reader to think about the topic. Okay, you're just trying to introduce the topic to your reader, get them thinking about it, and the topic being lab-grown meat. So you're not introducing your position yet. You're not introducing whether it's a good thing or bad thing. And what's really important too is you usually want to keep this really general. You don't want to be specific. Okay, so it can be a question. It could just be a statement. It could be also an example or an anecdote or quote, but those are a little bit more advanced. We could probably just keep it to a question or statement here. But again, very general. So you don't want it to be specific. Like, for example, what you'd want to avoid doing is you don't want a question that says, "Do you think lab grown meat's a good idea?" Question mark, right? You just want it to be really general. So maybe a general question would be, "Have you heard about this new thing called lab grown meat?" Question mark, right? Or something like that. Okay, so you're just kind of introducing. Like, or have you heard that in a lab they can actually make muscle or make meat? Question mark, right? And then background information. This should be at least 3 sentences. Okay, you want to give your reader background information about lab grown meat, right? Because you want to assume your reader doesn't really know anything about lab grown meat. So you want to kind of tell them the basics, right? So if you don't remember the basics, make sure to look at the sources that we've been reading over the past couple weeks. Remember, I collected them all in that source folder that has the articles that we've read together, it has the videos we watched together, right? So you want to give them the basics about, just what is lab grown meat, right? So you want to explain that, like in a lab, they could actually take a muscle cell from an animal, from like a cow or pig or chicken, right? Without really hurting them that much. They're not killed or anything, right? And in a lab setting, they can actually grow those muscle cells. They can have them go ahead and replicate and grow into meat, right? So instead of cutting the meat off of an animal, they just take a small cell sample and then they can grow that in some kind of cell culture media or something, right? So you want to explain all that, what this is. And then at the end of the paragraph, now this is the most important part of not just this paragraph, but your whole essay, is you're going to present your thesis statement, okay? So remember, our thesis statement and our argument could also be called a claim or our argument, right? And this is your opinion that you're trying to convince your reader of, right? So this is stating your author's argument about your topic, right? Remember, for this paper, that's either whether you're pro, for, or con against lab-grown meat, right? So you want to state whether it's a good idea, it's a good thing, or if it's a bad thing, okay? Now remember, you do not want to use "I think," or "I believe," or "in my opinion," okay, in your thesis statement, okay? The reason why is that's going to weaken your argument. If you say, "I think that lab grown meat is a bad idea," well, you're presenting it as like, well, that's what I think, right? Now, I know that that is what you think, but that weakens your argument when you're trying to convince someone, right? So when you're trying to convince someone, you're presenting an argument, you're kind of almost presenting it like it's a fact, even though it's not, like you're trying to convince them, right? Okay, so make sure to get this done. Remember, we're doing sort of a paragraph at a time in class. It's super important you don't fall behind on these. And I'll see you guys later.